Thank you, Orlando. And we very much appreciate the fact that you made the right decision 5 years ago. And we're very grateful you did, and we're glad to share this success with you. Thank you, sir, for being here with us today. There's some other recognitions that need to be made. As has been said earlier, the idea of doing this, of converting the public house into vouchers, preceded my coming here. It was what I wanted to do when I was in Richmond, Virginia about 2 lifetimes ago and could not get the political support to do. So when I saw that it was being done out here, coming here, as I told Ben a while ago, there were 2 reasons I took this job. Number one, I wanted to participate in this landmark, groundbreaking, for my industry at least, conversion process. The second is San Diego. Who wouldn't want to live here? But there are 3 individuals in particular I want to point out who were instrumental in coming up with the idea to do this. One is Betsy Morris, as was just pointed out to you. Betsy's my predecessor, a long, illustrious career here, very successful. Betsy, thank you very much. Appreciate everything you've done. Another is Betsy's long-term deputy, Carol Vaughn, who's also moved on to the private sector. Carol's not here with us today, but I couldn't let this day go by without mentioning Carol's name as well. As those of you who know Carol, she was involved in a lot of the nuts and bolts at the agency, and she and Betsy together ran a class outfit. So to Carol and Betsy, thank you. Also, I don't see him here. He said he'd try to make it, but the longtime chair of the Housing Commission, Sal Salas, who went off the board about 2.5 years ago, who was also instrumental in making this decision. With Sal and Betsy and Carol, it was the right decision to make. And thank you all very, very much. As most of you all know, I report to 2 different boards, a total of 15 people. One of my board members is here from the Housing Commission I'd like to recognize as well. That's Ben Moraga. Ben, thank you for being here. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the board, one of my boss of bosses, Gary Grambling. It's always great given our history together that once in a while I can tell Gary what to do, and I got to tell him 3 times this morning to get up and come up here. This is the 4th time I get to tell him what to do today, and I think, Gary, that's a record. It's usually the other way around. Gary was nominated to the Board of Commissioners by Mayor Jerry Sanders in 2009 and confirmed by the City Council then. Under Gary's leadership, we have focused not only on creating housing, but also investing in multifamily apartments, all of which are near public transit and are energy efficient. Gary is a great stickler to detail. He knows everything going around the agency, and he's been a good steward of the council's faith. I'll give you now Gary Grambling, the chair of the San Diego Housing Commission. Gary.
Those are nice words. Thank you. And if you hadn't announced that Ben, my colleague on the board, was here, I was going to do so. And I too want to thank Betsy for all that she has done. I have the good fortune of having known her since she was the assistant executive director way back in the early 80s. And I've watched her grow as the responsibilities and accomplishments of the Housing Commission has grown. And so thank you for all of those years of your leadership and your vision, especially as they've culminated in this. Ben knows, maybe David knows, he may be old enough to know, but this complex, which is only a portion of the accomplishments that we're making here, is actually sitting on hallowed ground. Because for years and years, for decades, Chuy's, a great tradition in Mexican eating, sat on these grounds, and it was a great place for the entire community, whether you were a business community, whether you were involved in the courts and other forms of law enforcement, or if you were steel workers over at the shipyard. Chuy's was a great place to come and eat and enjoy the locale. And I used to, it was also an adventure because it had acoustical ceiling tiles in the Quonset hut that Chuy's was. and you weren't quite sure if during your lunch a piece of one of those Acusco tiles was going to land in your Chili's Relleno. It happened on more than one occasion. But Ed has said he's going to try to steal this program. What I can tell you is that this program has already become a model for at least a dozen other housing commissions and authorities throughout the country. It's being followed because it's been shown that it has been successful, and that it provides an answer on how do we keep affordable housing decent and improved and healthy for families to live in. And that's what that's one of our major accomplishments, is just that, Ed. So I'm very proud. I'm only one member of the commission, and I came along. I wasn't part of the conversion. I came along at a time when I got to participate in the activation and the realization of the dreams that the others ahead of us had formed on that. And I'm proud of that fact.